Quiet Place. Day 1, a brilliant prequel to a masterful franchise. When John Krasinski first brought A Quiet Place to life, he created a near-perfect film that set an incredibly high bar for suspense in modern cinema. The central premise, that any sound could summon the terrifying and deadly creatures, was brilliantly executed, and the film's focus on a family's struggle for survival added an emotional depth that resonated deeply. Its 90-minute runtime was tight, ensuring that the tension never wavered. Given this level of achievement, one might question how a sequel, let alone a prequel, could live up to such a high standard. On some level, it's impossible to surpass the originality and sheer suspense of the first film. The novelty of the sound-based terror can only go so far, but the team behind the A Quiet Place franchise has done an admirable job in extending the story. In the sequel, we were introduced to new layers of this world, learning more about the weaknesses of the creatures, such as their vulnerability to specific sound frequencies and water, details that cleverly expanded the lore without over-explaining. Now, with A Quiet Place, Day 1, we are taken back to the start of it all. What could have been a formulaic rehash instead delivers a surprisingly compelling narrative that feels both fresh and familiar. We are finally given a glimpse into the creatures' origins, or at least their nests, which adds just enough intrigue without demystifying the monsters entirely. Much like Star Wars and its exploration of the Force, sometimes less is more. The decision to keep the focus tight, rather than explaining every aspect of the aliens, maintains the suspense that made the original so effective. At the heart of Day 1 is a smaller, more personal story. The film introduces us to Sammy, played by the brilliant Lupita Nyong'o. Sammy is dying of cancer and is filled with bitterness over her situation. Her character is not instantly likable. She's mean, by her own admission, but her love for pizza, particularly New York City pizza, makes her relatable in an oddly endearing way. This quest for one last slice takes her into the city on what turns out to be the worst possible day. After a hauntingly beautiful marionette show, we meet Henry, portrayed by Jaimin Hansu, a character fans may remember from the second film. What follows is the start of the alien invasion, and we witness the chaos unfold in real time. The tension ramps up quickly, and the film expertly balances moments of calm with terrifying encounters, ensuring that the audience is always on edge. Sammy eventually crosses paths with Eric, played by Joseph Quinn, whose understated performance adds emotional depth to the story. Their journey together through the crumbling city, with Sammy's cat Frodo in tow, is both heartwarming and nail-biting. What makes A Quiet Place, Day 1 stand out is its ability to mix moments of humanity and warmth with unrelenting tension. Sammy and Eric are flawed but strong characters, each bringing something vital to the partnership. They lean on each other in ways that feel organic, and their evolving dynamic keeps the audience invested in their survival. Director Michael Sarnoski, who took over from Krasinski, injects a level of artistry into the film that elevates it beyond typical post-apocalyptic fare. His previous work on Pig shines through in the quiet, contemplative moments, and the beauty of his cinematography juxtaposed with the horrors unfolding around the characters is striking. While the film isn't quite as terrifying as its predecessors, it's not because of a lack of trying. By the time Day 1 gets going, the tension is palpable, and the scares are well executed. It's just that the original film's novelty has set such a high standard that it's hard to replicate that same level of fear. Still, this prequel manages to carve out its own identity within the franchise, balancing emotional storytelling with the type of suspenseful action that fans have come to expect. At a lean 1 hour and 40 minutes, Day 1 knows not to overstay its welcome. This restraint is one of the film's greatest strengths. There's no padding or unnecessary filler, the story moves at a brisk pace, wrapping up just as it should. In an age where so many films seem to drag on far longer than necessary, this one ends exactly when it needs to, leaving the audience both satisfied and wanting more. In conclusion, A Quiet Place, Day 1 is a worthy addition to the franchise. It may not surpass the brilliance of the original, but it doesn't need to. Instead, it offers a new perspective on the story we thought we knew, filled with strong performances, breathtaking visuals, and enough tension to keep you glued to your seat. Watching it in a theater, where every sound and silence is amplified, is highly recommended. This is a prequel that honors its roots while forging its own path, and it's one that fans of the series will not want to miss.